What's up, everybody? Welcome to Friendship Frequency. This is a podcast where we talk about our real life struggles and what has worked for us. We get real, we get vulnerable, and discuss our everyday lives, and we invite you to go on this journey to better yourself along with us. I'm Tab Johnson.
I'm Aaron Windhorn.
And this is who we are, and this is what we do. Hola, good morning.
Hola, bicholas.
Good morning. Happy New Year, friend.
Happy New Year to you, too. It is the first podcast of the year, and it's a special one at that.
It is. You guys are in for a treat today. We have a special guest on with us. I have known him for almost 4.5, close to 5 years. He is one of the most incredible speakers that I've ever had the opportunity to listen to and be around. He just has this innate ability to pull things out of you that you didn't even know were there. Can cast a vision it's incredible. I'm super excited to have him on with us today. So you guys are in for a treat. I just want to, you guys have no idea what's coming your way. Michael, are you there? This is Michael Rutherford, you guys.
Yes, ma'am. Morning.
How's it going?
How's
What's up, buddy?
Nice to see you.
You're
I'm
nice
glad to be
see
on.
you.
Yeah.
Happy New Year. This is going to be fun.
It is.
It is.
My smile is ginormous because this is fruition. This is something that Aaron and I have talked about for a long time coming to fruition. And you know what you mean to me. So having you on is just incredible. And I'm super excited for what this is going to do for everybody. So tell us, let's start with the beginning. You and I going back 4.5, almost 5 years, and tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're at today.
Happy to. Nice to see you guys. My name is Michael Rutherford. I'm thrilled to be here. It was funny when Aaron was like, would you do the podcast? I'm like, yeah, for sure. Of course I would. Of course. What would you think I wouldn't? So
Well, that's what prevented me from asking you a long time ago, but yeah.
You'll have to tell me the first time we met. I have it narrowed down to a few different things, but you'll have to tell me. But no, I'm
Vegas.
from. Okay, what do you mastermind?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, of course, there you go. So as you say that, I could think of multiple of them. Did one on a yacht, like a big boat on out in oh shoot, now I can't even think of Lake of Las Vegas. We did one at our house. Yeah, we just had a lot of fun, and then came up to the PNW a bunch of times. I think I won't go too far back, but the short story, I grew up in Ohio, went to Ohio State. As soon as I got out of college, I moved to San Diego. I've been in San Diego for over 20 years, 20, 22, 23 years. I did a short stint in Vegas for a little bit in Henderson. Back in San Diego, at this very minute, I'm in Los Angeles. We're staying with friends for New Year's, and we're just still hanging around. He hasn't kicked us out yet, so my kids are in his other house. He has like a few houses on the property, so they're in the other house at the moment. I snuck down here to the pool house. There's some people that live. I mean, here's what's neat. We're going to talk about vision while I film the pod from a third house on the property that no one's been in probably 3 months.
Wow.
That's what's up.
My vision is getting fully stretched while I sit here and do the Zoom. So anyway,
Right.
so I've had this whole vision excavation idea forever. I've been doing it forever. Been in business for my entire adult life. I only had one job in my whole life. It was when I was just out of college in my 20s. True story. I got fired for missing work for being drunk and not making it. So I don't do that. I don't do jobs or drinking any longer. They don't mix. So I've been working for myself. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, and this whole vision casting, dream, goal setting, dreaming, getting in touch with like what you want, why you want it, getting clarity and specificity around it. I've just been doing it forever. So, even every chance we were ever hanging, it was probably pretty likely that we were either somewhere cool, headed somewhere cool, talking about somewhere cool, doing something out of the ordinary that you wouldn't normally do, that you couldn't afford to do, just to put yourself in an environment to go, this is interesting. So anyways, that's me. Finally listened to God's prompting and said, hey bro, start it, do it. I've been inside of a business for many, many years that I'm no longer in, and I don't do. And it was finally time to do my own thing. And there's a whole another story to that I'll get into a little bit later, but that's what's up. That's what brought us together. Did a Zoom last week. You guys got on, and now here we are. Pretty cool how it happens.
Yeah.
Right. Full
Honestly,
circle.
yeah, it's incredible. I think it's interesting that you use the words vision excavation. Excavation is not a word that people use and typically in their everyday vocabulary. So when you say vision excavation, we know what that means, but what does that mean for you when what excavation? That, like I said, it's not a word people use on the regular. So what does that mean for you?
I'm glad you asked. It's when this whole thing came to be, it was, part of it is new for me. Like I call it seed discernment. We'll get into that. Make sure we cover that. We can't forget that. I don't think we will. Yeah, I've been talking to people about, bro, you know what would be sick? And like that's the start of a sentence. We did a mastermind in Cle Elum one time, and I was like, bro, you know what would be sick, dude? And then we just spitballed a vision of what would be cool. I don't want to do a huddle up with people and talk to them about changing their life and making more money than they've ever made and living a fun, adventurous, rich filled life. Rich in experience, not necessarily money. I know people with money who have no experience, and I have people with all the experiences of the world, and they don't really have any money. So I take that over, money with no
Right.
experiences, money with no adventure. But anyways, we're like, bro, you know what would be sick? So if you're watching this, write that sentence down and start a conversation off with your kids or your wife or your husband or whoever, and start a topic off, whatever the topic is, and then go, bro, you know what would be sick? Or you know what would be badass, dude? Those two sentences I don't use the badass one as much anymore. I'm trying to swear less. And I'm doing pretty good. God just took it away. But the sentence still just works better than you know what would be sick. And then it's like, you know what would be sick, dude? If we had a cabin in the woods that when we wake up in the morning, A, there's snow on the ground, and B, there's flipping deer everywhere. And they're like, oh, we'll make that happen. Katie's like, done, we'll make that happen. We'll go to Cle Elum. All right, cool. And I was like, and we need to drive off-road vehicles, razors of some kind, bang around the woods or something. Done. You know what else would be, killer? A river of some kind, a creek of some kind, some sort of body of water that we can drive the razors through. You know what would be out of control? And then we just had this ping pong match of like, who could throw something wackier against the wall? And it stirred up creativity in each of us. As far as I was concerned, they were just going to, rent an Airbnb somewhere, and we're going to sit around and, play Scrabble and talk about, I don't know, going to the gorge or something. Well, that's not what we were trying to do. I'm like, no, you got to go out, get out of your own normal environment, break the day to day, Groundhog's Day. Just go see some of God's creation. What's the Bible say? The Bible says God made all of this stuff for you. Not, he didn't make the world for the birds. He made the birds for you. He made all the animals for you. But most of us have never been to Costa Rica. We've never seen the waterfalls of Hawaii. Your kids have never snorkeled the oceans of anywhere. I did a call the other day with a guy worth $8 million. Him and his wife are farmers. They've never been anywhere. They've been to Cabo on a cruise 17 years ago. Other than that, they've never been anywhere. They've never been on a plane. They've never been to the ocean. They've never. I didn't even know how to talk to them. True story. I'm like, so you've never
Crazy.
snorkeled before in your life? Where would they snorkel? They live in Saskatchewan, Canada. And I was like, so you've never ziplined before? So you're telling me you've never seen a live toucan in the wild or a monkey in the wild or no? They've seen deer and ducks. So I'm like, man. So back to Cle Elum. You know what would be awesome? I want a freaking bow and arrow set that we can light on fire. We'll do an inflatable Santa Claus on the other side of the property because it was around the holidays, and we'll take turns shooting arrows at the inflatables. You guys, that's what we did. Do you know what people remember from that event 5 years later? The freaking inflatable Santa Claus flaming arrows going across the property. That's what they remember.
True story. True
And then
story.
everybody that went on the four-wheeling or the razor riding expedition with us they never knew there was a river going through that mountain, through that property. And when we asked, they go, oh, there's no water anywhere. And I go, we'll find some. You guys, if I'm lying, I'm dying. Ask Ken Williams. I don't know I can't remember who all was
Yeah.
there. We made a wrong turn, coincidental wrong turn, off trail, down across the road, and a huge rushing river, aka a little creek.
Wow.
But guess what? There was water in it, and we spent the rest of our time there. They were like, "You guys got lost." No, we got found. The only
Yeah.
thing we wanted to find was water, but we had to get lost to find it. Next thing you know, guess what memory from that I have of the whole time? I don't remember seeing any part of that mountain except the water, except the creek. And it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal because most everybody else just showed up and was like, "Hey, I'm down for whatever." They didn't have any goals. They didn't have any vision. They didn't say anything. You know what I'd like? I want to, you know what I can see? I'd like to see 3 or 4 deer just come up out of the wilderness as we're sitting there having lunch, as we're sitting there eating a turkey sandwich. I'd like to look over and see two adult, two baby mom or two mama deers, a couple baby deers that just come over right next. I don't know. Most people didn't say anything. They just showed up. They didn't have a vision for what they might see. So I know I'm rambling. I'm fired up this morning. But it's just about creating, like making a space for creativity and then allowing, like you have a big God, not a small God. When my kids are like, well, I don't know about this and I don't know about that, I go, is God big or small, bro? He's huge. He's everywhere. What do you mean, is he big or small? Well, then why do you talk about such small stuff that he don't even need to be involved in for you to do? Does that make half of us pray for stuff he don't even need to put his hand to make happen? Does that make sense? So
Yeah,
I'm gonna preach
absolutely.
something more this morning. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. But
Get
That's all
after it.
good.
Get after it. Get after it.
I know that I've always struggled with vision.
in the
Just
past,
in
sir, keep
vision.
going. In the
You're right.
past, you
In the
did.
past, I'm speaking in terms so because I know a lot of people out there lack vision. And so, what's one thing that you would, I guess, the first step that you would give to people to get past that lack of vision?
Part of it, I would say, well, quit saying you don't have any. That's part of it. I'm on the phone with these farmers, and both of them, man, we've always struggled with vision. We've always, and then they start using their mouth to tell me how bad they are. So then, as we get into the conversation, you guys, they got an $8 million net worth, 13,000 acres, probably a 5,000 square foot main house. They got another house they just bought, a building they just bought. They're turning into a gym. He's like, well, I figured we could charge some people to come use the gym, and it'll help pay for my own personal gym. And I'm looking at him, I'm going, you have some vision. I'm very confused here. Like, I
Yeah.
agree we can expand on it, and it
Can
doesn't.
we
It
have
didn't
a
have.
mastermind at their house?
Yes, we can. That we talked about that. He's talking about doing Bible studies. He's talking about, and I said, well, have you ever sat for a moment and his son's 16 or 17? I said, you ever imagine that you and your son would be running a men's prayer at one of your properties? And then he sits there kind of stuck. And I said, now we're talking, dude. I said, now grow it, expand on it. Who else is there? Any of his buddies? Any of his buddies that he plays sports with show up, and then 2 weeks later they bring their daddy. Their daddy gets saved for the first time on your property. And then I said, who else is there? Where's your wife? She looking out the window watching all this stuff while you baptize 3 men in the pond in the backyard. I said, now, so obviously he has vision. They have these things and they have this really neat life. They have a family farm. They're farmers, they're Canadian farmers. And they just generationally, and I'll continue to answer your question, but I got to finish this thought. Generationally, they're passing down really fantastic things. They are. Additionally, they're passing down some limiting beliefs. They have some fear of travel. They have some fear of being kidnapped. They have some fear of, they're borderline preppers and stuff, and that's okay. But it's become a fear. So you just have to help me remember where in this book it says to be scared, where in this book it says to have fear, where in this book does it say weapons that are formed against you are going to work. It just doesn't say that. It says the opposite. So it says wherever you go, he's with you and he's going to protect you. You're going to be good. Oh, she's like, I always want to go to Jamaica. I thought that would be cool. And I said, perfect. Where's your daughter want to go? And she's like, I don't know. She's kind of like me. She's scared to do anything. And I said, what I hear you saying is you and your daughter are going to together go to Jamaica without any men, without your husband, just the two of you. And she's like, and I go, you'll be just fine. You'll be just fine. And I said, maybe that's what you need. I go, mom and dads without passports have kids without passports. They ain't never been nowhere because mom and dad ain't never been nowhere. And so back to the original question, how do you start having a vision? I'd say the first part of it that came to my mind, and there's other things that I won't think of at the moment, is stop saying you don't have any, because you do have some. Look at the lights behind you. We ain't got no lights. Obviously you got a vision of what I'm serious. You got this podcast moving and grooving. You got a
Yeah.
vision for what it could look like. You had to, in your mind, think of what those lights would look like on camera. You had to think through some of the different stuff. But like, there's times and places where you've had vision. It might have been for a Super Bowl party you had, or a football party, or a Christmas party. You had to see people come into the house, and you're like, oh, I'm going to get my Christmas mat for the front porch, and I got to do this, and I got to do that. So you had a vision for it. A lot of people are just telling themselves they don't have any, and they believe it. Like, your words are powerful. Scripturally, it says there's power of life and death in your tongue, and we speak how little vision we have all the time. We talk down to ourselves all the time. So I got good news and bad news. Good news is you're going to eat from the fruit of the seeds you plant. I got bad news. You're going to eat from the fruit of the seeds that you plant. So, good news and bad news. It's all good, because even if you plant crap seeds and get crap fruit, you're going to eat from it and go, "Oh wow." You'll know a seed by the fruit that it produces. You'll never get ketchup from a mustard seed ever. You're always going to get what you plant. So, I say that all to say, vision comes down to that. Like, I've heard it said, if you don't speak it out of your mouth, you'll never have it in your hands. If you don't see it in your eyes, you'll never have it in your hands. You're not just going to wake up and stuff's going to be in your hands. And I know I'm bouncing around, but like, what's a thing like, Aaron, just for fun, where have you always wanted to go in the world that you've never been?
Probably Germany.
Unreal. No one has answered that question with Germany since I've asked it for a month. So that's fantastic. That is evidence and proof that you have your own unique vision for your own unique reasons. I didn't wake up this morning and go, I want to go to Germany, although there's 100 reasons why Germany would be cool, and I would go with you. It'd be fun. But why do you want to go to Germany? Where is that rooted, do you think?
Just, I guess, because I'm like, my family's from Germany, and hence the last name Windhorn. It's German, and
I thought it was French.
Yeah.
Do you know what part of Germany? Or do you have any ancestors there still, or family?
I know that there's a lineage of a family over there that I've never met. My uncle's done the whole genealogy tree stuff.
Keep talking, but homework for today, get a hold of him and find out where. Keep going.
Okay. And so I just thought it would be pretty cool to go back and see where we all came from, or what it was like.
It will be cool. When you find out where, you'll be able to like get some, like, if I punch it, like if I said right now, come see me, like, you guys are invited. Jessica Simpson lives 2 doors down, by the way. We'll go peek in her windows. Not that you want to see Jessica Simpson, but
No, I don't. She don't mean shit.
The FBI is listening. Oh my God.
she got a cool husband, her ex-husband. But if I said come see me, and you're like, okay, I'm on my way, and you jump in the truck and just start coming down the 5. Well, first of all, it'll take you a little while to get to the 5 because you don't live in the middle of I-5. But once you get on the 5, you bring that sucker all the way down. At some point, you got to get off the 5 to come over to Los Angeles. Well, wait a minute, I'm not in Los Angeles. I'm in Calabasas. Well, if you think it's LA and you just punch in LA, dude, you're gonna be driving around for a long time. Even if I tell you Hidden Hills, there's hundreds of properties in this gated community. If you can get through the gate, you're gonna drive around lost for a long time. You need an actual address. So if you say Germany, what I hear is, hey, I'm coming to Puyallup. I'll see y'all soon. And I'm like, I'm here. And you go to the front door and open the door. I want you to think of this relative to all of the things you want to do in your life. I'm here. And you're like, he's here. You go to the front door, swing it open, expecting me to be standing there. And I'm not. And you're like, I thought you was here. Where are you? And you're like, where are you? Oh, I'm like, I'm here too. And you get the point. I won't stretch this out.
Yeah.
Turns out I'm 35 minutes away on the other side of town at quote unquote Puyallup, whatever my navigation on the Apple map says. I'm nowhere near you. And then you're like, no, I'm over in, and I don't know any of the little communities of Puyallup, but you're like, what street are you on? I'm on, Elm Street. Okay, hold on. Now I'm on Elm Street. Well, there's the Elm Street that runs all the way through town. I'm still not at your house. I need your address.
Yeah.
Period. I ain't making it there without an actual address. So longitudinal, latitude.
So the key word would be specifics.
Yep, specificity,
Specificity.
baby. So,
Yep.
so when I say Germany, so we're going back to Germany. What are you doing if you're in Germany? Like, as you've ever thought of Germany, what would you do while you were there? Like, what do you see while you're there?
Go probably meet relatives that I've never met before. Go check out the scenery, go on some hikes. And that goes back to specificity is like, where exactly am I going to go hike? What am I exactly going to go see?
Yeah,
Who am I going to see? So yeah,
100%.
I get it.
What are you wearing? What are you eating? Now, granted, some of it you just don't know yet, but guess what? You ever get those coincidences where, man, I was thinking about calling you, and then somebody texts you, and you're like, I was about to call you. Those aren't coincidences. You know how many times the word coincidence appears in the Bible? Not one, 0 times. No synonym of the word coincidence, and no translation of any Bible has the word coincidence in it. There just aren't any. And, oh, that's a coincidence. Yeah, not so much. Coincidence, we're on a Zoom within a week, literally less than a week of the last time we were on a phone call together, or a podcast, I should say. It hasn't even been 7 days. It's been 6 days and like 20 hours, but you get what I mean. So we hadn't talked in years. All of a sudden, here we are. What a coincidence. How wild is this? Yeah, not really. It's just not.
Right.
So as you get some clarity on, like when you hit your uncle, by the way, this afternoon you could have an entire trip built. For all you know, they're already working a family reunion in wherever, Germany, anywhere. And you're like, oh, that's so, what a small world. What are the chances and the timing of that? Very likely. It's very likely. Okay. And then as you start talking about it, you know how social media works. The algorithm ain't just random, it's what you tell it. The algorithm gives you what you tell it. It just does. Today, the three of us will have Germany somewhere in our algorithm because we're talking about it and your dang phone's listening. And you'll have some this week, you'll have some interesting Germany stuff pop up, especially after you talk to your
Sure.
uncle. You just will. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden you'll get an American Airlines email that's like, it's flight specials for Q2 to Germany.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's how it works. Like your RAS, your reticular activating system is going to start going to work. Your awareness is now going to be, it's going to go from a pipe dream or some far off, wouldn't it be, you know what would be cool, to an actual itinerary. And then as you start, just like, a blurry target never gets hit, or I guess it gets hit occasionally, but very often, but you'll have, like you'll zero in on some real stuff. And then randomly a friend of yours is like, oh, bro, I just got back. They'll start telling you some stuff. You'll get some clarity of where your family's from. Top things to do and see in 2026 in Germany. You'll get a couple of things pop up. You're like, oh my gosh, that's right where my aunt lives. Next thing you know, within the next week, 2 weeks, you're on a FaceTime or a Zoom with some family members that live in Germany that you didn't even know existed. And she's like, well, when are you going to come? Because in the springtime, the hiking's really good. And you're going to go, ha, that's what I want to do. And then all of a sudden, you're watching YouTube videos on the top hikes in Germany in 2026. And now there's some realness to it. And then you're watching some random video because that's how YouTube works. It's a suggested video of some Hofbrauhaus or something, or some restaurant or some whatever. Um, you know, big, the huge beers they have and all the foods they have and the sauerkraut and all the stuff. All of a sudden, it's really becoming clear. The Bavarian pretzels. There's a bunch of stuff. They
Yeah.
eat different stuff there. You get what I'm saying? Now all of a
Yeah.
sudden we're starting to taste what's happening. Like I can taste a big old thick Bavarian. I don't drink beer, but I can taste a big old Bavarian pretzel. I don't like sauerkraut necessarily either. But like a bunch of the foods and stuff they have, I can smell it. I can hear it. Now all of a sudden we're in Germany. This is what vision is. It started tiny. If I just ran you through one simple little exercise, we could peel this 4 or 5 more times. Does that make sense?
Most definitely.
And then you're looking up airlines. I bet there's a Seattle to Germany nonstop.
No,
There
there is.
probably is. So we're at in Germany. What else have you ever wanted to do that you've always, or what's another thing you've always wanted to do other than Germany? Where else would you go in the world?
Probably Costa Rica.
Now we're talking, as you
Yeah.
should. You know what airline flies nonstop to Costa Rica? Alaska Airlines. Do you know where they have a hub? Seattle.
Yeah.
So
It's just like the other day when we were talking and I was kicking my ass. I said that I kicked my ass for not taking you up on that men's mastermind in Costa Rica that you invited me to. And, you know, it's lack of vision. And because I just would have been back 4 days from getting back from Portovar to Mexico.
That's fun.
And jumping on a plane to go to Costa Rica. And the first thing that popped into my head was, I can't make that happen.
Right.
But I'm kicking my ass now that I didn't do that. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the cool thing is most of us default to, no, I can't. You've heard people say that, oh, I can't make it. Well, dude, I didn't even give you the date of when it was. By the way, we're paying for everybody's flights. And they're like, well, hold on, maybe I could make it. Well, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing too. How often are we closing God out and we're saying, what we're saying? I had a buddy, he's like, man, I want 100 acres. And then he goes, actually, scratch that. I don't want to mow it. And I go, yeah, nobody said the 100 acres would even be grass. Maybe the 100 acres is one of the largest lakes in all of Texas. And he's like,
down.
He's like, oh, well, hang on a second. And I was like, and by the way, it comes with an existingly running, finish the sentence with anything creative that your brain came up with. And I was like, you run jet skis on the thing. On one section, it's fishing. On the other section, it's hunting. On the other section, it's got 11 log cabins around the perimeter of the thing. It's got a stream and a creek that runs through it. It's got a natural spring. And I go, bro, shut your mouth with, I don't want to mow it. What's wrong with you? I go, you can get people to mow the thing, not even charge them. You get people that want to be a farmer for a day. People will pay to do that. That's like a real thing. They will pay to do it. You can get people to pay you to collect the chicken eggs, pay you to go milk the cows, pay you to ride the biggest tractor they've ever seen in their life because they think it's fun. You've tricked them into mowing your lawn and charging them to do it. I was like, knock it off. I don't want to mow the lawn.
There is actually a place in Texas that does all of those things. It's called the Milk and Honey Ranch. And it literally is exactly what you just said.
I just made all that up just now. But like, that's a good idea that exists.
You're speaking her language because she loves Texas and she's from Texas. So that's funny you brought that up.
The interesting thing is, you know, there's a song by Brandon Lake, Too Good to Not Believe, and the main lyric of the song is, you know, don't tell me God can't do it. And he's essentially singing that there's just nothing too big for him. Lady got pregnant and gave birth to Jesus. Nobody had any sex with anybody. She woke up in her first trimester and was like, hello, angel, what'd you say? Oh, you're going to be pregnant and you're going to give birth to a baby, and it's not Joseph's, and it's actually the savior of the world. It's going to be good. That actually happened.
Oh my God.
If you believe any of the book, that happened. And you don't think you can get on a flight to Costa Rica in the next 6 months? Or if there are no planes going there, a little trickier. But there are full airplanes constantly, all the time. And I mean, I've flown there for $100 before, $200 before, not a lot of money. What if you had peanut butter and jelly sandwich for the next 30 days? Could you make it there? Yeah, of course you could. Most of us have the time and the money to do some stuff. We just talk ourselves out of it for lack of creativity, for lack of vision, or just we get scared, you know, and we got to activate our faith, the faith that you could do it, have the guts and the audacity to actually talk about going. Once you start talking about it, you'd be surprised things will start popping up around you. You know, you won't be surprised if you hang around me for a while, but you'd be surprised the things that start kind of popping up around you. You're like, oh, it's funny that you mentioned that. I was just talking to my brother the other day, and I'm like, that's not surprising to me. You know, Costa Rica, what would you do in Costa Rica? What do you see in Costa Rica? How do you see yourself in Costa Rica? Who you with? Where you at? What are you doing?
I'm with Tabatha because she's my bestie, and I know she wants to go there. For one, I'm at relax, go see the sights, go hiking.
Oh, I'm ziplining, 100%. You already know that.
The ziplining and the hiking are baked in together. You kind of do both. So, but I'm with you. Keep going.
The food. Like I see the food. I see the colors and the smell of it. Just being Latin, like those are already familiar to me, and just the culture. Yeah. I'll cry in a second. You guys know that. I'll cry in a second.
I'll put you in a WhatsApp with a lady. Their family runs the oh, I'll think of the name of it in a second. I can pull it up. I have her on WhatsApp. Everybody that ever goes there, I connect them in a WhatsApp with them. They give them like the friends and family hookup price. But it is the eco tour. It's a river tour, and you go see all the wildlife. But what you're talking about is like really down home, like mom and pop local. You're in
Yes.
a neighborhood, in a home, and they
Yes.
have, they have a cover. Depending on the season you go, there'll be some rain for sure, but not all day. The seasonally it'll rain in the afternoon, but in the morning you're good. But you roll up. Francisco is always the guide we have, and he's on a motorcycle. We follow him, but when we get back, they have Costa Rican coffee, like little shots of espresso, chocolate. They got little knickknacks and stuff. Everybody goes pee, and then we follow him. He's on his motorcycle. We rent an SUV, and we're just weaving essentially through through a neighborhood first, then a jungle. We go down on this little boat dock, and there's this long seats, probably 20 people. We always do private tours, and it's not expensive, but within minutes we're watching white faced monkeys are coming down onto the boat. Iguanas the size, 4 foot long iguanas, bright orange, this big around, monkeys everywhere, toucans, just anything you can imagine, like wild flamingo looking birds, just animals and birds and wildlife you just never seen before. They just don't live here. And like if you go to Australia, kangaroos are like squirrels. They're everywhere. They're a nuisance. You've never seen one because you ain't never been there. And it would be bizarre to see one. How cool would it be to see a live kangaroo? Well, in Australia, they're everywhere. They're like squirrels in Cleellum. There'll be 25 of them on the golf course outside your house. They just live there, but they only live there. They don't live anywhere else. So in Costa Rica, you just don't see that stuff. You don't have iguanas living in Puyallup. So you don't have, green pit vipers living in Puyallup. You don't have poison dart frogs on the trees in Puyallup. You do in Costa Rica. So when you go to that place, you do the wildlife tour. Oh, and crocodiles everywhere in that particular river.
Oh,
That
good.
particular river. So you got a guide. You got a guide named Francisco. He's the coolest. Venga, venga, venga. And he's getting the monkeys to come down out of the trees. He's got a bag of fresh limes, although don't tell anybody. He's not supposed to. He takes the limes and rips them open and hands them to the monkeys, and they take the juice and rub it all over their body because it keeps the bugs off of them. Well, guess what? We're feeding them bananas and stuff. It was the most radical thing I've ever seen. And he's like, crocodile! Huge 12-foot crocodile. It's asleep. Its mouth's wide open. They sleep with their mouth open. So if the mouth's just open, it means it's asleep. And we roll up on the thing, and all of a sudden, as we get closer, we're 5 feet from this thing. And then, wham! It wakes up and just takes off in the water and disappears. And he's like, okay, let's go. And he's just spotting stuff. Coolest animals you've ever seen. And here's the point. As we finish, we park, we get back, we follow him on his motorcycle back to like the hacienda, and it's in these people's home. And grandma, who looks 80, she may be 105, I have no idea, has been hand kneading corn tortillas, maize, right? Hand kneading corn tortillas while we were gone, and has them on a fire and is making those. Has got chicken from the chickens next door. Literally, there's just a bunch of chickens right there, and they just go. We didn't see them killing chickens or defeathering chickens. That's what they do. All the food comes from right there locally on the property. All the vegetables, all the beans, everything. And I'm like, holy cow! So big plate of beans and rice and veggies and chicken, corn tortillas, different fruits they have there. They made like a sorbet, like a dragon fruit sorbet. It might not have been dragon fruit, but something like that, like a really tropical Costa Rican fruit sorbet. It was bright purple. You guys, it was one of the best meals I've ever eaten. Father, son, mom, daughter, grandma, all of them were involved in making the food. And the food experience was just part of it, but it was one of the coolest experiences. I had messaged her that I think it was Jet's birthday when we were there. They made somebody in the neighborhood made Jet a gluten-free birthday cake, true story, and brought it out to us. Pretty sure it was Jet, brought it out to us while we were there as part of the whole thing. And everyone at the table was like, are you kidding me right now?
Wow.
So to your point, the Costa Rican coffee, all the stuff, the chocolate, it was all local. It was all made in that little community. by the people who made it, brought it over to us and fed it to us after the whole animal excursion. You guys, that was started, experienced, and done by 12 noon. By noon, that was all just part of one morning. And then we went out of there. But that's not just the creativity, the expenditure of and the execution of that plan. It's not any harder than going down to San Diego or going down to Orange County to go to Disneyland. Probably cheaper. It's probably cheaper. So, why haven't most people been? Well, they just don't believe they can. The uncertainty of it swallows them up. The fear of it swallows them up. If they really broke down the planning of it, you can go to ChatGPT and ask it, what's the best month of the year to fly there for flights? These are the things I want to do. What's the best time to go there? When's the best time to go? What's the best city to fly from? What's the most economical way to do it? You guys, they have Marriott hotels and Hilton hotels. You can stay there a couple nights on points. Like, you can bunk up with some other people. As we start getting gutsy and like activate, it really comes down to faith and belief. Most people just don't have very much faith and they don't have very much belief. And the best way to build some is to build some, oddly. Best way to build some muscle is to build some muscle. You got to get it. You got to start working. How do you hike? How do you go on a 10-mile round trip hike? Well, you go on a 1-mile round trip hike. You do one, you think you can do two. So this is no different. No different. You get on a hike, you start thinking of some other stuff. What would be cool? We ought to go down to Oregon to some of those waterfall hikes. Okay, cool, let's do it. And it just starts growing. It starts expanding. And then to me, what I've always experienced is once I put myself in a place of being, a creative space, just like mentally and emotionally, you start thinking of some neat stuff. It starts opening up other ideas and other visions of other things. Like while we were going back and forth on Germany and Costa Rica, what else was popping up? Either specific to those two places or other places.
Anything? I think for me, it opens up, and this, I don't have a specific answer for this, but I think what it does is opens up the gate, or the gate of opportunity, like makes you realize what you can do, and just, it opens that space where so many of us are beat down by life and what the world tells us and this and that and the other, that having conversations like this opens up that space for you to be able to dream and what if, or bro, what would be sick. Like, that's the most powerful thing in all of this, I think, is just opening that space and allowing yourself to go there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, look, the tough part, and I think you just said it, is my kids aren't better than your kids aren't better. Nobody's kids are better than anybody's kids. Do we have the guts to even think it's possible? And do we even give God a chance to even do anything in your life? For most of us, all we're doing is we're saying no to everything. We don't even realize it. We're not even opening up to the possibility. Half the stuff we're praying for don't even require God to do anything to make happen. So it's like, but we lack gratitude for what we do have, and we lack vision for what we could experience. Look, I want you to be grateful for the fact that you didn't die last night in your sleep. Some people did. Go to chat and ask how many people died today. It's a lot of folks. None of them thought they were going to die. They did. It's just part of it. None of us are getting out alive. So have gratitude for what you have, but also be open to receiving more. I'm not talking about being ungrateful. I'm not talking about living in a state of delusion of always being somewhere else. Be present where you are, but also have the guts to talk about what would be cool, what you'd like to see. I didn't wake up today wanting to go to Germany necessarily. So why is that inside of Aaron? Well, he just answered part of why it is. That's something God put on him and put in him. That's where his origin, like my family's from Scotland and some other places. So it just depends who's who, and why we want what we want is okay. So, there's a scripture that says God will give you the desires of your heart. What does that mean? You want what you want for a reason. You didn't decide. We're not talking about, like my buddy the other day was talking about having a family farm, and I said, what do you see? And he goes, I could see my kids getting the chicken eggs, and I could see my older kids, tending to the animals and the cows and brushing the horses. And I go, those are not earthly goals. Those are good. Those are good.
right.
I'm like, that's okay. I go, what happens is when we talk about the things we don't want, we're closing opportunities. It's 2026, bro. I didn't even have a business a week and a half ago. All of a sudden I have a business, and it's going great. Like people are stoked. People are buying. It's happening. I signed up 10 clients in my first period of days. It made $10,000 literally in the first 2, 3, 4 days of a new business, of a business that didn't exist a week and a half ago. I'm not any more special than anybody else. Truth is, I've had the idea for years and years and years. I was disobedient and scared to do it. Aaron asked me that yesterday. Why didn't you do it? I was scared. I didn't know if it would work. Didn't know if I could do it. Didn't know if anybody would show up. None of it. Next thing you know, I start talking about it. It'd probably be the most.
We lost him.
Sorry, I was getting a
There
call.
we go.
There you go.
I'm sorry.
All
It'll
right.
probably be the most. I keep getting a call.
Tell
It'll
him
probably be the
no.
most successful thing I ever do. Go ahead.
I want to bring it back, Michael, to you said something a little earlier. You got to get lost to be found.
Yeah.
For me, that resonates. Like, I can't even tell you. You know, there's been a season of some struggle, and it's the way that this whole situation, you coming back into our lives and all of these things happened. One would say, oh my God, what a quinky dink. You know what I mean? And now just having the conversations with you and having, you know, talked about it a little bit, it's obviously not a coincidence. But I think that I had to go through the season that I went through to get me ready for what you and I are about to do. And, you know, just can you expand on that a little bit? What it means to you got to get lost to be found?
Yeah. Yes. So it's funny that you say that. Most of us are too busy complaining about what's going on that sucks to realize what we're moving towards. You know, I've had this whole idea, and I said in the beginning we would talk about seed discernment, and what that
Yes.
meant was like the origin of why you want what you want. I've been ambitious my whole life. I thought I was just ambitious and some stud business guy. Turns out I was an insecure little boy who felt unworthy. Like I was filled with unworthiness. That was the origin of becoming successful. My dad wasn't like you can do it, buddy. Good job. The Spirit of God lives in you. You can do anything you want. Yeah, that's not what I got. I just didn't. And it was fine. He did the best he could. I'm not mad at him. I let all that go. But like he just in my junior year of high school, he's like, bro, why don't you go to Scarlet Oaks and be like a plumber or something if you're not going to do this like school and college thing? And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, I'm not paying for your college. I'll pay for your brother's, but I ain't paying for yours because I don't think you'll do it. He basically didn't believe in me. He's like, I don't think I'm not going to waste my money. So as I went into college, I blew through it, got through it in 4 years, was on the dean's list, graduated, moved to San Diego, and got into business. Now, it took me many, many, many years to become successful, but I worked at it a lot. And I'd like to tell you that I was just happily ambitious and, had the Spirit of God in me and was like, yay, let's go do it. No, I was like, I'm going to show you how great I am, if you've ever heard that quote. I was doing it insecurely. I was doing it as a broken man with a hole in my heart, trying to prove my dad wrong, that he chose the wrong brother. I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know that till June. So the seed of my ambition, made $100,000-$200,000 a month for 80 or 90 months in a row. Literally for nearly 10 years, made more a month than I ever had in a year for 90 months in a row. You would have thought I'd be happy and fulfilled. I had joy and I was fired up. I just was. But it was filled with strife, chaos, the Biggie song, Mo Money, Mo Problems. Guy the other day says, man, I got some financial problems. I go, what, you make too much money? And he starts looking at me weird. And I go, oh, you haven't made a lot of money yet. Okay. But there's a backside of a blessing, player. I'm just telling you. If you never made no money and you make $1 million, let me know the new problems you have that you didn't even know existed. But I say that to say I didn't know the seed of why I wanted what I wanted. I'd have thought I'd be content at $200,000 a month. I wasn't enough. I was still broke at $200,000 a month. I had a McLaren in the driveway and a $2 million house, but I wasn't secure. My spouse didn't feel secure. She felt as insecure and as unstable as if we had nothing, because it wasn't going to fill that hole. If you drink, so if you got somebody that drinks a lot, the old Guns N' Roses song, a little used to do it, but a little got more and more. It just doesn't get it done. So fast forward to now, I had to get lost to get found. What I mean by that is I got lost in all the mess. And over a period of time, I didn't even know why I was even doing what I was doing. And all of the things that I sort of I didn't think were idols of mine turned out to be idols of mine. My relationship became an idol of mine because I wanted her to fulfill me. Well, she can't do that. Only he can. So I was like a broken little boy that felt emasculated. But in reality, no, I was a broken boy who gave up like my opportunity to, you can't fulfill yourself. God can fulfill you and can completely complete you, but money can't, a business can't, a project can't, a spouse can't. So I was putting idols on all these things, and I didn't know it until they were all gone. I thought all these people cared about me, loved me, were in a foxhole with me. The minute they weren't, I was like, oh, wow, holy smokes. I thought I was important and mattered. Turns out, all the things that were important to me that turned out to not be that important to me. So I went from having the worst day of my life, weekend of my life, year of my life, in a matter of moments, became the best day, week, year of my life. The best ever. I've done this vision talk for years and years and years, done it with hundreds of people. This whole vision excavation that we're doing, I've done it hundreds of times for people, but I never did it from the other side of it. I always did it having a lot of money and having a lot of stuff. I did my vision excavation Zoom the other day from an RV because that's where I live. My buddy's like, you want to use my house? I go, no, that's not authentic. Like, I'm being my own case study during the process to go circumstantially, it doesn't matter. Like, I have more zeal and more joy and I'm more fired up today on the back end of having made a lot of money and being successful than I ever did when I had a lot of money and was successful. I don't know if that is coming out and making sense, but
yes.
So like I didn't have $5 in my pocket, no goals, no vision, no idea what I'm supposed to do with my life. And God's like, finally, bro, finally, would you get out of the driver's seat, bro? I told you. So then I go, yeah, I don't want to drive anymore. Got in the passenger seat and was just like, I'm going to rest. You drive. Until I was willing to do that, I was white knuckling everything and wondering why it wasn't happening. So
yeah, sometimes we have to slow down and gather what's going on to see the true picture. And
yeah,
you know,
you got to get out of the forest to see the trees, or get out of the trees to see the forest. When you're in the thick of them, and sometimes like just go punch in your Bible app and punch in the word rest. You'd be pretty stoked about what you read. He doesn't say run, 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 go, 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 sprint, 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 stress, stress, stress. No, he says sit down and rest on me and just be patient. Let me do a new thing in you. So sometimes we got so much stuff going on, we don't even hear him. I mean, he's telling me to do this thing for a long time. My buddy, who's a pastor and a prophetic guy, spoke it to me. He's like, God's telling me you've already got the business and you just ain't done it yet. But the minute you do, you probably make 10 grand in the first couple of weeks. And I said, I received that. And he goes, and you'll never worry about money ever again. And you'll do it with him this time as the partner. And I said, all right, well, that was August 13th. I have the notes. I didn't do it. That same guy was in San Diego for this men's event called Launchpad I did. I'm driving him around, giving him a tour like I've done to hundreds of people, taking him to La Jolla, doing all this stuff. And I get this prompt, and it's like, do it on Frank right now. And I start doing this vision thing with him. The same thing we just did on Germany, I could do with your house. I could do with a spouse. I could do with kids. I could do, this kid the other day, he's like, man, I want to be married with kids. And I said, what does she look like? What does she sound like? What qualities does she have? He starts telling me, and I go, what do you have to be? Who do you have to be in order to attract a lady like that? And he's like, woo. I go, the punk ass kid on Instagram ain't going to get her. I promise you. You look like a turd on Instagram. Cool picture, nice Aston Martin, but it ain't yours. That's not what's going to get a Proverbs 31 mama. It's just not. I go, so you got to be who you want. You got to act and be who you want her to be, because that's the only guy that's going to get that girl. So I wanted Proverbs 31, but I wasn't being my side of it, if that makes any sense. So, and I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but like back to Lost and Found, so many of us are just, we don't know where we're going anyways. We don't know what we want. We don't know who we are. We're lost in our own identity, and it's actually stressing us out instead of empowering us. When I had nothing, I was at the most peace because I had no pressure. I had no pressure. I was like, oh, perfect. This is great. And then once you start reading this darn thing, the whole book's about people getting smoked. still having faith, and then coming out the other end of it. So
Yeah,
if you're getting
you
smoked,
touched on
good for you.
you touched on this earlier about people's lack of vision could stem from lack of worth or that they don't deserve something. Can you touch a little bit more on that?
For sure. Again, I'm glad I brought my props. Most of us, I mean, if people talk to you the way that you talk to you, you'd punch them square in their mouth. And if people talk to you, if people talk to your kids the way that you talk to yourself, you'd probably be in prison for whooping their ass. And I just say that to say, can you imagine what God feels like when he listens to what you say about you to yourself and the thoughts that you have and the stuff that you think? I mean, we have an inheritance that you don't even activate. You know, it'd be like being a Rothschild walking around town feeling like, or fill in the last name of a family that's very successful. You know, you're the son of a king and walking around like, I don't know what. It's like you're Aladdin, and I don't know why I got this vision. Imagine at different parts of the movie, Aladdin is a bum or he's a stud. And I don't mean his character because he's kind of lying and stuff and pretending to be somebody he isn't. But imagine who you actually are, what your lineage is. I don't just mean Germany. I mean all the way back 2,000 years ago. Who's your great grandpa? Who's your real lineage? Well, you're the son of a king. I tell you what the Bible says about you. A, never read it, and B, don't believe it. I ain't trying to say what you say about you and what the world says about you. So oddly, there's a song that about the lilies and the sparrows, and they don't worry about how they get dressed. They don't worry about what they're going to eat. They don't worry about sowing seeds. God cares more about you than the lilies in the. Think about how meticulously he created the Amazon rainforest and all of the animals in the Amazon rainforest or Costa Rica or whatever it is, or the Swiss Alps or Zion or the Grand Canyon or just anything in the world that's beautiful. Bro, he cares more about you than that. He spent more time and meticulousness creating you. And yet here we are thinking we can't do something. There's not anybody doing something big that's any better than you. They just maybe had the audacity. Maybe they're just delusional. You know, I'm believing for a restoration of my marriage, my family, my relationship. You'd think I was telling people I want to be reborn as a unicorn with purple hair. And I was like, dude, that's not even that tough. Like the stuff that's in here is radical. Skeletons in the dirt. And he's like, get up and go. Like, okay. And they start rattling together and up they go and they walk out of the desert. Trying to go to Germany, trying to make a couple extra bucks and pay off some bills. Are you out of your mind? So, like, to me, really having an understanding of where you're at, man, you're in a good spot. You're in a good spot. You know, the whole Bible talks about perseverance. Well, perseverance comes from getting your gut, getting your balls kicked in. That's how you build perseverance. I didn't inspire anybody with a McLaren. I'm inspiring some people with nothing just because I have joy during it. I just read it. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. And God's like, I got you, player. It's all good. Like he already woke up today and went through Aaron and Tabatha's a whole day, got it all squared away, and no weapons that's going to come at you today are going to do nothing. It maybe build some endurance out of you, which is good. You want to go hike some gnarly mountain in Germany? It'll be because of the endurance you built and the character that you built hiking all over the state of Washington. And I know that's a weird analogy, but like scripture says to praise that and have joy in that and rejoice in that. You know, I didn't like getting dumped and getting left. Guess what? Best thing that ever happened to me. I didn't like getting kicked out of my own business and losing all my money. Guess what? Best thing that ever happened to me. And I don't have a new relationship. I ain't got no new money. So I don't come at you from a place if it's already good. I got neither of them still. So let's land the plane. We can do more of these, by the way, but what are some other last thoughts that you had or anything else you want to bring a full circle with?
We're at 55 minutes, so let's add probably a question for you that everybody would probably find some value from. If someone's listening and feels stuck right now, what would be the first move they should make?
Good question. I would say call Tabatha or Aaron, and then you do the exercise on them that I just did with you for a moment. Stop saying you're stuck. Start saying you're in motion. Start believing that you're in motion. Scripture says, you know, you can have a plan, but God will guide your steps. It doesn't say he'll guide your butt cheeks while you're sitting on the couch. It says he'll guide your steps, which means you're moving. Get up and move.
Right.
There's a time I just said earlier to rest. I understand that too. There's a lot of that. But it doesn't say run, 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 go, 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 get after it, white knuckle it, freak out, be scared, be nervous, be anxious. It's, rest on him. He's got a plan for your life. Be quiet enough to listen to what he's saying, but to activate some of your vision, just right now while they're listening to this, what have you always wanted? You got to activate some creativity and some faith, period. What have you always wanted to do? I don't want you to want to go to Costa Rica because we talked to Costa Rica. I don't want you to want to go to Germany or have a family farm. What is it that you want to do? What do you want to do? We were in Costa Rica and my friend was there and she's like, I don't want to look for tree frogs. And I go, what do you want to do? I've been begging you for a week to tell me what you want to do. And she goes, I just want to do nothing. I want to get a massage and a facial and do nothing. I go, thank the Lord. I hit and I know I'm on a tangent. I texted the concierge. I said, I need a masseuse here stat. He goes, how's 10 a.m. tomorrow morning? Perfect. I need 3 of them. I said, we'll call her Suzanne. Suzanne, good news. Tomorrow we're going to hike a crazy waterfall where we got to rappel up through a freaking rushing river to get to it, which we did do. And it ripped my trousers off of me and I was butt naked in front of all my friends. And the water was cold. And then, so that true story. So then she and 2 other ladies stayed back at the villa and got pampered and massages. And it was the greatest day of their trip because they finally told me what they wanted. So I say that to say it isn't about what other people want. It's not about what other people say you should want. What do you want? I don't know. Okay. Well, sit and critically think of it. What have you ever wanted ever in your life that you gave up on? And have Tabatha or Aaron or hire me to do this excavation with you, and I'll help you with it. Just reach out to them and they'll get you in touch with me. But what do you want? Sit down for a moment, let your creativity, but stop saying you don't know. You do know. You just don't have the faith to activate it that could ever happen. Say something that the only way it would happen is if God put his hand on it. What's something so radical? Buddy of mine the other day, we're at an event, and whether you believe in this or not, doesn't matter to me because I do. One of the guys is like, somebody in here is getting all their debt paid off by the end of the year. And my friend Adam is sitting in the meeting and he goes, grabs it, pulls it down. He gets an offer on a property that's been for sale all year long. People write a full cash offer, say this is exactly what we need. We've been looking for this for 6 months. Write a full cash offer, paid cash. It closes. They got $150,000 paid off all their debt. Borrowed money from mom and dad, paid off. Credit cards paid off. Contractors paid off. Couple liens paid off. Some taxes paid off. He's like, bro, $150K. You know how much we needed? $150K. Almost to the dollar. Paid off everything. And I go, oh, what a coincidence. So, what a coincidence. You guys, another friend of mine I talked to her. I did this vision excavation with her 5 years ago. Her goal was 6 figures. She was making $2,500 cleaning houses at the time. Wasn't in real estate, didn't know how to spell real estate at all. She wanted to get to 6 figures. She wanted to get custody of her kids back that she lost during her divorce because her husband had money she didn't. Went into this whole thing. I find her notes, literally a whole page of notes 5 years later. I call her and I go, hey, I need 5 minutes of your time. She's like, what's up? I go, check your text. I sent her notes back to her. And I said, how's it going since then? She's like, oh my gosh, she got custody of all of her kids. She not only bought her mom a car, she bought her mom a house and a car. Not only she had 6 figures, her main goal was, it would be crazy to get to 30 grand a month. You guys, 5 years later, she's at 100 grand a month, which doesn't matter. She goes, she had a goal of mentoring other women who had been through some tough situations to help them get back on their feet. She's got 5 women that are over 6 figures in her real estate business. She's running a team. She's running an office. Guess what she's got me doing on Thursday? Going into her office and doing a 2-hour vision excavation for her whole team. And she's like, I'm bringing my notes from when we did this 5 years ago. You guys, she said stuff that hand to God would have been the only way that would have made it happen. She's like, I want to get closer to God. I want to lose 40 pounds. I want to be closer to my kids. Like all these things. You guys, everything on the list was done. Now, here's the question. I go, when was the last time you did that exercise? She's like, 5 years ago. And I go, cool, we're going to do it Thursday in front of your whole team. She's like, so use your mouth to say some stuff that scares you as you say it, frankly. Say some stuff that It would have to be a miracle to make it happen. And then just write it down and keep it in a safe place, because a lot of it will happen. And this is
Love it.
manifestation. It's just not. So I'm fired up.
That's awesome.
Fired up is an understatement. Understatement. Michael, thank you so much for being here with us, for just opening the door, just like you always have, you always do. Is knowing you 4.5, 5 years and seeing you now, it is completely different. And it is, I feel every word that you say. So
Praise the Lord.
Yeah. Thank you for today. Thank you for your time. How can people find you or reach out other than getting a hold of me and Aaron? How can people get a hold of you?
Probably my IG is probably the best. I don't even know what the name of it is, but my name's Michael Rutherford. It might be like Michael Rutherford Official or something like that. I don't know, actually.
It's Michael Rutherford online.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys need to get a hold of Michael, get a hold of us. We'll get you in touch with Michael.
Yeah. Well, no, look, I'm honored to spend some time with you. Look, most people wouldn't even ask. They just wouldn't, and that's part of the problem. Most people don't even have the faith I would even answer. Well, I've got to wipe my booty this morning the same as anybody else. I'm not any different than anybody else. Oddly, Kim Kardashian lives about 10 houses away. The whole family does. Kris Jenner, all of them live in the same little neighborhood. They all still have to use feminine hygiene products the same way. They have to wipe their butts the same way. They ain't no different than you or me. I don't care if you like them or not. They're just, none of us is any different than anybody else, and none of us is getting out of this thing alive. So quit making excuses and thinking small.
Amen.
I love
That's
you
why
guys.
I asked you to jump. Hence why I asked you to join this podcast. I told Tabatha the other day, I was like, I'm kind of hesitant about asking him, but I threw that away because when back in that other thing we used to do, well, you used to do, we still do, but I think on multiple occasions I sent you a text message wishing you a happy birthday and I never heard back. So that's what's kept me all this time from reaching out to you. And, you just got to push them limiting beliefs out of the way and say, screw it and go for it.
You're spot on. Fun enough, I don't recall ever seeing them, so they're probably in a box I never saw. My buddy
Probably.
my buddy was signing a new client up on a business he's in, and he was all worried, and he's talking the deal right out of existence. Like, there's power of life and death in your tongue. I didn't make that up. That's in this book. It just is. So he's like, man, what if he's canceling? Man, what if he changes his mind? Man, all this stuff. And I go, bro, do you want it to not happen? He's probably moving money. He's probably like with his kids, and when he gets done, he'll send you the wire. Sure enough, the next morning before he wakes up, because the guy lives in Texas, sends $3,500, and he's got his undies in a wad because he was talking himself out of it. I'm like, dude, use the same energy of faith instead of fear. He was being managed by fear. The believing in fear is the same of the effort as it is being in faith. And I was like, and if he doesn't buy, there's a really good reason why he doesn't. Does that make sense? Like, I'm waiting on some significant payment from something. It hasn't paid yet, like significant. There's a reason. Now I'm enjoying the fact that it hasn't paid because I know there's a much larger reason. It's almost like God's like, send it. Literally. Okay. There's a reason. There's a reason your flight was delayed. Just know there was. You don't have to know what it is. If he told you everything that was going on, you wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. You'd just constantly be hearing downloads from him. I saved you from this. 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 There's 500 things in the morning that he did or didn't do based on what was best for you. And meanwhile, all we do is think of the things that didn't happen.
That's funny you bring up flight delays because nobody, especially Tabatha, refuses to travel with me because my flights get delayed or canceled. So there's a reason for
Those
it.
are good. Look,
you can thank
just
me
go
later,
punch
Tabatha.
in the word endurance in your Bible app and read all the scripture it talks about endurance. It's unbelievable. Or character. Romans 5:3-5 says, rejoice in your suffering because it creates endurance. And as you endure, it creates character. And character is what inspires other people. So,
Love it.
If you're a single mom watching this, going through hell, guess what? People are watching you still have joy, and they're like, man, and they get out of bed in the morning inspired because you didn't quit. Well, that's what endurance and character, that's what that scripture means. You guys, it's all over the Bible. So it's like, don't complain that you're having a thing that you're going through that's requiring you to have endurance. It says it's required. The endurance goes endurance, character, inspiration. The first two have to happen. So if you haven't had it happen yet, like you have to squish your grapes in order to make really good wine. If you're in a grape squishing season, amen, hallelujah, blessings are coming. Like
Right.
it just doesn't happen without it. So you got to get fired up about getting your balls kicked in. I mean, just period. If you're getting your balls kicked in, the devil's shaking in his boots because he knows blessings are coming. He knows good news is coming. It's just how it works. So, all right, we got to end and we'll never land the plane. I love y'all. Thanks for having me.
Love it.
We love
Thank you.
Thank you. Always.
Please like, subscribe, and share, and don't be afraid to reach out to us with feedback and topic ideas. We are here to offer hope to everyone, and we cannot do this without you. Until next week, I'm Aaron.
I'm Tab.
This is the Friendship Frequency. This is who we are. This is what we do. Have a great night. Peace.
Bye.